Hi there, Becky Amble, and I've got an AI tip for you today. This is based on something that I was working on today, and I thought, oh, maybe this is something I can share with you. So let's go take a look. And this is using ChatGPT and using ChatGPT to do an image. I was working on something for an event on LinkedIn, and the whole idea was sharing some thoughts on content. And I was kind of thinking, hey, content chaos might be an image that I want to make. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, make an image of a man and a woman in business clothes, casual business clothes, throwing their hands up in the air with bunches of papers flying all over. And we are going to call it content chaos. Make it photorealistic. So you want to tell it, and when you're doing images, if you want it photorealistic or an illustration or something like that. Anyway, here's the first one that came up, and you can see that. I'll make it a little bit bigger. And I said, well, that's really good, except they look happy. And if they are in chaos, I probably don't want them happy. So I said, super, just make them look frustrated, not happy. Next one comes back, content chaos. Yeah, they look pretty frustrated. And this guy has an extra arm. So maybe that's why he's particularly frustrated. And I thought, well, I probably better get rid of that because people might not appreciate my sense of humor if I said something kind of goofy. Anyway, I said remove. Here we go. Remove the left arm, one of the left arms from the man. All right. Now you can see how good that worked. That didn't happen. And one of the things that happens sometimes with ChatGPT in particular, when you're doing images, it'll get stuck. And I could tell it repeatedly, maybe to get rid of the guy's extra arm, and it might not do it. So here's another thing that you can do, and hopefully you can see this time. I'm going to click on the image. And then over here in the upper right, I get some tools, and there's one that looks like a pen with a little dashed circle kind of around it. And you click on that, and that's basically, it's kind of like an eraser. Anyway, you go in and you just identify what it is that you want to get rid of. Creates this little blue orb around it. There you go. And then you go down into your chat box and just type the word erase. And then you tell it to go. And it does it. And I'm just going to show you how that worked out. And here we go. This is what it did after I told it to erase. And now we have a perfectly good image. Look at that. You can't even tell that there was ever something over here. So keep in mind when you're doing something like this, again, doesn't always do it just the way you want. Iterate, start with your first prompt, be ready to tweak that and keep going back and forth. Like I did here, I said I want them to look frustrated. It did that. Got an extra arm. I said get rid of the arm. It didn't do that. So then I used my tool to basically highlight what I wanted to get rid of. Remember when I did that here? Your tool, again, click on the image. Tool will show up in the upper right. There it is. And then you come along and you just go like this. And I don't know, I don't think you have to be too fussy. And I'm going to move on to show you the final object was here. If you are using something in ChatGPT and it doesn't seem to be understanding what you're trying to get it to do, that's in particular from an image standpoint, remember you can go in and use that tool to make some changes yourself and tell it to erase. And lo and behold, you might have just what you were trying to create. Thanks a lot, and we will see you next time.